remember at Miami, LeBron got the game winner. He got the game winner. I feel like I should have had help weak side. That's just me personally. I'm gonna just put that out there. We can roll the B-roll.
We can roll the tape. We can roll the tape.
I don't know.
Straight Shooters Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Shooters Podcast Season 2. We appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Last episode was great. Ryan Harrell came through and joined the show, showed us some love. So we appreciate everybody for tapping into that first episode of Season 2. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And go ahead and hit that like button so y'all can stay in the loop with everything and not miss a skip. With that being said, let's get straight to it. Today's guest is unbelievable. Another hit, another heavy hitter. In my opinion, I had the privilege to play against him my freshman year at Milton High School. He is a Georgia high school basketball legend and a Wheeler high school basketball legend.
Come on, man.
Nah, that's facts. I'm just speaking facts now. Took it to the next level to college, played at University of Miami, and then took it further than that. Ended up playing for the Orlando Magic, as well as the Atlanta Hawks for some time in numerous countries, such as Japan, China, Italy, France, Dubai, and probably a few more I'm missing.
I don't even remember.
Right, he been playing for a minute, but with all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, DeQuan Jones.
Man, I appreciate
you for joining us, man.
I appreciate you having me,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes, sir. So for people who do know you, they don't need too much of a introduction, but for the people who don't know you and that are watching this, tell us a little bit about, your background, what you come from, the season of life you're in now, and what you're all about, right now.
Man, game spitter, bucket get. Nah, I'm just playing. Nah, man. So I was born in a small town called Livingston, Alabama. I moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia when I was 5 years old. And I came up, on the east side. I came up Stone Mountain, baby.
Yeah.
From Stone Mill Elementary to Stone Mountain High School to Wheeler High School.
Okay.
I stayed, off of Central Drive my whole life, basically. But that's it, man. I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a father, a husband, a son, a brother.
100.
And, I just happen to play basketball.
Right. So, we going to start, I like to do things in order. So we going to go from when you were living in Stone Mountain, what was the thing that, made you and your family make that decision to say, hey, let's go to Wheeler?
You know what's crazy? I actually at first didn't even want to go to Wheeler.
Really?
I didn't even want to go to Wheeler because so what happened, what was the writer for Rivals? Justin.
The white boy. Justin, not Young? Was it Justin Young? It was Justin Young. Wow.
He had a camp at Southern Poly.
Oh, yes.
And exposure camp.
Yes.
And JJ was on my team. And I think I got like MVP. Or I had the big write-up in that camp. And JJ kind of came to me and was like, bro, JJ, he's like, what's your plan?
Right.
And at the time, Stone Mountain was on the rise. We had two guys that were heavily recruited, Andrew Goodlock and Terrell Bell. So,
Solid.
I was committed to that, but like I said, I didn't even want to go.
Wow.
But what pushed me was I was kind of working out with Worldwide and working out in Wheeler. And I came back from one of those workouts and my house was burglarized. Like,
what?
Came home.
Hold on, here in Marietta.
No. In Stone Mountain. I was still in Stone Mountain at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I came home and the door was kicked in.
Wow.
Door was kicked in. Place was ransacked. They, whatever. And I was fighting my mom about it. I was like, nah, I grew up here. I don't want to leave my friends. And they kicked the door in. My mom was like, you're going.
Right.
Like, it ain't nothing else to talk about. So
At all.
That's I think in the short answer, that's what drove me there.
Word. As far as, you going and you said Mom Dukes basically after the burglary was just like, you know what, it's time? And were you in your mind too, like, you know what, I'm gonna just listen. You know what, this is a sign. You know what, maybe it's time for me to try and start a new journey and create a new journey somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it forced me to kind of reflect on like my environment and the opportunities that would have been presented to me. And then I had a coach and an older mentor who was also pushing me in that direction. And it was just a whole bunch of stuff, man. You know, I'm getting older.
Right.
You know, testosterone and emotions.
Right.
Getting in fights and, you know, my
On through
mom got
puberty.
scared and then you move with your auntie. Nah. Yeah, it was like the original Fresh Prince. So
Yeah.
I think, but the burglary was like the final straw for sure.
Right. Right. So what year was that? Was that going into your freshman year, or were you already in high school?
Yeah, I was I finished up my sophomore year at Stone Mountain.
Okay.
And then I went to Wheeler my junior and senior year.
Okay, so that's when everything changed. And what was the biggest difference for you stepping in foot? You know, Wheeler, you know, knowing what they come from, knowing their culture, their pedigree, what they stand for. You know, what was there any pressure on your shoulders?
For sure. The pressure, it was more so like stepping into a role. And the biggest thing was like, you're given a sports car, like don't wreck it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is the legacy that we've stamped in the city, in the country. Don't mess it up. Like, you next up. So that was my whole mindset. I didn't take the opportunity for granted, and I didn't want to just take the opportunity, but I wanted to take it a step further than, you know what I'm saying, them guys before me.
Right. And I saw something you said in another interview. It really made me think about, okay, he's not just a dog on the court. This is just him. So, you know, there was something you said, and you said you remember hearing people, you know, say, you know, there's a room full of you guys, all of y'all are talented, and, you know, maybe one of y'all will make it. And then you said in response, well, you know, I know the rest of y'all probably, you know, might as well go ahead and pack it up, because that talented one is me.
For sure.
And that's a mentality that you have to have to kind of have tunnel vision to seek that greatness.
For sure. That was, I remember vividly, that was at 5-Star Camp.
Yeah.
Y'all don't even remember. Y'all too young to even remember.
Man, 5-Star?
Y'all don't even remember 5-Star.
They don't remember it.
It was a Pittsburgh camp. And that coach later on went on to coach me at Miami, Coach Jake Morton.
Wow.
But he said it. He was like, you know, how many guys in here, statistics say that only 3 of y'all gonna make it. And I remember looking around like, shit, well, what the other 2? Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm accounted for.
Right.
Like, where the other 2 at?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna be great at anything, you have to have a certain degree of delusion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that degree of delusion is what carries you through failure to an extent. It carries you through it. It makes you resilient to your circumstances and what's going on. It makes you resilient to pressure. And I think, you know, a certain degree of delusion is good. Look at Kanye.
That's a fact. And not just Kanye. Look at Kyrie, like we was talking about. I mean, Kyrie, he don't really talk like that, but he will if he has to. And then he doesn't care. You know, he even brought up his growth in an interview the other day that was really interesting to me. He don't got no bad blood, man. He's at peace right now, and you can kind of see it. You know,
man, the most dangerous assassins are the peaceful ones.
Yeah,
the ones that are at peace, the ones that are calm. Those are the ones you got to watch out for.
Right.
Those are killers.
Right. That's a fact. That's a fact. So when you think about it, you know, it seems like you came from good foundation. You know, your mom, your pops. Talk a little bit about, you know, your relationship with them before we jump any deeper into Wheeler and then move past high school.
Yeah, man. I mean, I came from a long line of just hard workers, man. Like blue collar. Yeah. Both of my grandfathers worked in textile factories. My dad worked in a steel mill. He still melts steel. You know what I mean? My grandfather losing his half of his thumb in a machine, seeing them get up every day, putting on their hard hats, they work boots. I remember even as a kid, like trying on their work boots and seeing how hard, you know, they go and how hard they work. And, you know, my mom is she was a stickler, man. I told a story, on Instagram. AAU team, I'm going to be politically correct. I ain't going to say which one. Because, you know, I've still got a good relationship with them guys. They left me in the airport.
Oh, wow.
They left me.
It was a mistake more than likely, right?
No. It wasn't a mistake. I tried out. So at the time I was playing for the Georgia Hurricanes, and they only had one team going to Vegas, whereas the other team had three. They had a gold, a silver, and a green, whatever. I probably gave away the team, but whatever. And like I said, I had two teammates on my high school team at Stone Mountain that played for them.
Yeah.
So they was like, yo, come try out with us.
Yeah.
So I go, try out. From what I was told, I made the team. So I'm excited. My mom, she, you know, the last little penny she scraped up, I'm telling people, I'm on the phone with all my girlfriends at the time, allegedly. Telling them I'm going to Vegas. Like, you know what I'm saying? My mom. And that day came, they was like, we in the airport. I'm counting. I'm like, okay, 17, but we got 16 tickets. And they came to me, it was like, yeah, you know, this player live in Alabama, so it's better that we give him your ticket and we'll get you a ticket out later on that night. And I went home, you know, 2 days later, I'm calling, you know, I never went.
Wow.
Yeah, never went. And
I know they look back at that like, we screwed up that way.
I mean, you know, like,
shit happens.
And like Kyrie, I ain't got no bad blood.
Right.
That was when that switch happened.
Right.
Because I remember, you know, being emotional. My mama came in and she looked at me and she was like, man, you know, it's up to you if you ever experience this again. And, you know, the only time I ever been cut after that was from the association. So,
no, that's real.
No.
That's real. I also saw something. You know, you and your pops used to watch a lot of Jordan Pistons matchups back in the day. Yeah. You know, that really resonated with me because back when me and my little bro, you know, we were young, we used to watch the Michael Jordan Come Fly With Me tapes on repeat. You know, any Michael Jordan tape was in that house. My pops just left it there for our disposal. And we just tried to soak it up as much as we can, you know, we could, and we fell in love with the game. So just did that have an impact on you wanting to do this forever? You know?
Yeah, man. I went to see Jordan in '96 when he played the Hawks.
Oh, wow.
And my dad, it was like a spur of the moment. Wow. My dad, we drove up to Atlanta because we were still in, I think we were still in Alabama at the time. We drove up to Atlanta. And I remember our heads was touching the ceiling, but I remember looking down and seeing like Jordan's aura. Like that's a real thing.
That's a fact.
To be 5 years old and to be cognizant of like somebody's aura, that shows you that like this is spiritual, bro. This ain't got nothing to do with being manipulated or propagated or nothing like this.
Right.
And I remember thinking like, I want to have that like I want to be like Mike.
Right.
No pun intended. But
right. Factual.
And you know, ever since then, my dad would tell you, like, I used to line my toys up to, like, watch me play basketball.
Yeah.
You know, that was, in my mind, that was, like, the crowd. That was the thing. But, yeah, man, and I used to watch Mike, Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp was a beast. Dunker. Finisher. Highlight reel.
The original monster.
Yeah, facts. Yeah,
the original monster.
Nah, for real. So, we're going to touch on Wheeler just a tad bit more because, you know, that's just a huge piece. You know, for young guys like myself, when I was a freshman, you were a senior, and I can still recall till this day when we came to Wheeler. You know, my boy Julian Royal. Shout out to Julian. I mentioned you in the last episode. He was a freshman of the year that year in the whole state of Georgia. He did great. Yeah, he put up numbers on every team.
Nice.
Double guy. He led our team in points, 3-point percentage, rebounds. He was next level. But you went baseline short corner, and if I'm not mistaken, it was almost basically off vert, body to body body to body. And it was just like a memorable thing for me, just watching that Wheeler gym. It reminds me of that Duke gym, just jam-packed and them fans on top of you.
Yeah.
You know, and from there, the rest was history when I found out about Wheeler. But for me, I always wanted to know from a guy who played with that unit a lot outside of my boy Carl Cochran. And I need you on the show. And KK, shout out KK. I need you, y'all, both of y'all, you know, I need y'all. But, you know, how was it playing, you know, with for a powerhouse with guys like Ari Stewart, Phil Taylor, Richard Howell, Taj, you know, Freeze Tate, you know, Carl Cochran. You know, how was it playing on that team, you know, being one of the best teams in the country?
It was cool, man. It was a great experience, and I think like I was spoiled to an extent to like come in and see greatness like every day. You know, you kind of take it for granted,
right?
Because you get used to it, because you know what I mean. You're exposed to it so often. So, but it was a great experience. Like it was a culture type thing.
Okay,
and I think culture, when you create like a winning culture or a culture that's conducive to winning, players had no choice but to fall in line.
That's true.
And it was Gladiator school, man. And I think the thing that we all had in common was like we genuinely love the game,
right? Because
if you didn't love it, you wouldn't. It would chew you up
and spit you out.
For sure. For sure.
You know, so yeah, that's what's up, man. And I know that same year, was that your senior year, when y'all ended up playing Norcross?
Yeah.
And Al Farouk and company.
Yep.
That I was actually at that game. I remember you going baseline. It was between cross or behind the back cross to the baseline dunk. That shut up the crowd, you know, that shut up Norcross. Had Wheeler's crowd going crazy. That game went to the wire, man.
Yeah.
Great players on both teams, tons of pros on one court, which was a historic event just in its own, just because of that. You know, did that game, you know, how do you remember that moment? Do you remember, you know, that moment when y'all played another top team in the country and it's two dogs, Norcross Wheeler, and y'all fell short 3 points when I thought y'all should have won that game?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand, bro. Like, it was literally Gladiator school.
Actual.
So like, we had prepared for those moments long before,
right?
And I think G and Coach Lip didn't get enough credit because they gave us adversity early on. That's why like the national schedule we had, that's why it was so essential early on.
100%.
You know, because I think that year we went and played Finley Prep.
Y'all played everybody.
We played Finley. I remember, bro, we played Finley Prep in Vegas.
Yeah.
We played Finley Prep in Vegas, and I remember, like, playing, I can't even think of, Jorge. Was he little light-skinned dude, ponytail.
The guard. Yeah, he was a dog.
Yeah,
he was a dog.
And I remember him having like grown man strength.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and then we looked it up, and bro, like 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? It was a prep school.
Right.
But again, like, that's what I mean. We had already experienced that adversity long before, so we kind of went into it with like an open mind, and and they did a good job not letting us get our emotions too high. So
keep it balanced.
Yeah.
Right.
It was one of those. Like, we knew what was at stake, but
right.
At the same time, we knew at the end of the day it was just basketball.
Right.
It's still basketball.
At the end of the day, factual. So, you know, going into, you know, transitioning from, you know, Wheeler going to Miami, I also, you know, saw, you know, from the pipeline, from a great, you know, from a birdie, you had relations already, you know, someone you knew a assistant coach on that team. So that kind of not necessarily swayed you, but, you know, had your, you know, mindset like, you know what, I already know, have good relations with, you know, assistant coach, one of your folks. And it's just like, you know what, it's a no-brainer when you have, you know, those type of bonds just aligned.
For sure. I think, you know, I'm almost saying old, but like back then, it mattered what conference you played in.
Oh, it's sure for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
For sure.
Because-
ACC was booming.
Because scouts wanted to see how you would fare against, top tier athletes. And if you were basically in this region from the South and you were known to be athletic, big, strong, athletic wing especially, you're showcased in the ACC better than, let's say, Big Ten or whatever the case is. But I think that kind of swayed me. Like, looking back, I probably should have went to Oregon. I was recruited by Kenny Payne and Yas, who's now in Indiana. And I think...
You said Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon.
Oh, you wanted to go there.
I didn't want to go. I did, but I didn't. Like, now looking back, I understand their perspective on it. Like, I feel like had I went there, I would have gotten the attention that I needed.
Right.
Meaning, like, I would have...
For the route of the association.
For sure.
Right.
Like, I would have been in an environment where I was, like, locked in the gym. Like, no, I'm coming to get you at... Same thing with Wheeler. It would have been like a transition for Wheeler. Like, no, we're getting in the gym at 6 a.m. And we're going to work on this. We've studied, we've heard, and talked to scouts. This is what they want to see. This is what we're going to do. And so, in retrospect, I think that would have been a bigger decision. And, I mean, that's the advice I would give the younger players. Like, go somewhere where you're going to get the individual attention that you need, and also, where a coach, if there is even a such thing nowadays, has job security.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a great answer right there. Hope y'all kids listen to that, because there's some gems right there for you. So, when you got to Miami, I know a lot of things changed for you because, for most people that are, or most players that are, 4 or 5 star athletes, and you go to a Power 5 or an ACC, SEC, Big Ten, whatever, big school, there's other guys that have a big name with you.
For sure.
So what was the biggest transition that you had to deal with, going from Wheeler to Miami in the early years?
It wasn't really a big transition, man, because, Wheeler did a great job.
Right.
It was like college. You know what I'm saying? Right. Coach Lip and G would basically, like, I remember I would have 6 a.m. workouts while everybody else is sleeping. And not only to the extent of having the 6 a.m. workout, but, like, I had to walk to the gym. Oh, wow. So I had to walk, like, 2-3 miles to the gym. And it was like, yeah, and you better not be late.
That's character building. So, like, when I went to Miami and everybody from their perspective was like, you're going to be distracted. It's Miami. Like, those moral lessons was already instilled in me. Yes. So it was a smooth transition. It was just time management and still keeping my eyes on the prize. But it wasn't like a big transition. I was just in boot camp for 2 years. Right.
I was in basketball boot camp.
1,000%. So when you got to, you started 35 games, over 500 points, close to almost 300 rebounds, over 50 assists, 50 steals, 50 blocks. I mean, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of production. And the crazy part about it is, like, you went through something that most players really shouldn't have to go through, on top of the fact that the rules are what they are now.
Right.
So, it's really interesting how that even went down. And if you want to touch on that, because, that was in 2011 when they tried to sit you out. And I remember watching an old interview of how you described what they did. And they were really beating around the bush with you. They weren't keeping it a buck with you. You won the appeal. And the crazy part about it to me is that they sat you those 10 games. And when you won the appeal, I know it was just like, yo, I could have been playing these 10 games.
Yeah. Yeah. My whole mindset, and even Coach Larinaga commended me after like the season was over with, and even during the whole thing, like I still was the first in practice. I still was the first in the gym.
Yeah.
But that was my way of dealing with it.
Right.
Like that was my emotional outlet to go through it. But my whole thing was I had faith, and my mindset was like I don't want to be rusty when my name is called.
100%.
You know what I mean? But
got to stay ready.
Got to stay ready. But it's one of those things where when you're going through it, you don't understand it. But it really built my resilience to adversity.
That's what your mom said.
Yeah.
That's what she said. And you know, parents know their child, especially a mother that has a good relationship with their son. They know their son. And just listening to her, and you know, for people who don't know what we're talking about, there was a, you know, allegations, NCAA allegations, recruiting allegations back during that time frame where he got suspended for 10 games for no reason. You know, and there were allegations. They hired a lawyer, filed the appeal, won the appeal, and he finished the season strong with great numbers. And I remember you saying something too, you know, outside of, you know, your mother, you know, it's really giving you your flowers early on how you handled that, because she said that was a tough time and you just stuck it through.
Yeah.
And that support, that family support, that inner, you know, support from your family and just your loved ones is everything.
For sure. And I think my message in that is like self-destruction ain't the only way. And so often, you know, when you go through something, you go through adversity, a lot of times self-destruction is like the default emotion, like the default response. But it's like, even in that, like I looked inward and I dove into the game even more.
Right.
And it deepened my love for the game even more, because it showed me that at the blink of an eye, like anybody could take it away from me.
That's humbling, because to hear that come from a guy your stature, a lot of guys don't have that humility, and that can really ruffle the feathers of your journey. And there was also something that you said that really stuck with me, man. It was something along the lines of, you can be the person that you can talk yourself out of your own dreams.
For sure.
That was a bar. I said, wow. I called my brother the other day and said, I was doing my research, you know, I already knew enough. I just wanted to, you know, and that was just like, wow, you know, thinking about it, there's so many people that can relate.
Man, this is the first time I actually told, well, maybe not the first time, but I remember vividly. I was in Santa Barbara. I had signed with BDA Sports, and I was in pre-draft workouts. I had been there for 2 months, right? So I'm working out with heavy hitters. I'm working out with John Jenkins, Festus Ezeli, last name Taylor. He got drafted to the Charlotte.
Guard?
He's a wing. Jeff Taylor.
Oh, Jeff Taylor.
I'm working out with Jeff
solid.
Taylor, Perry Jones, Orlando Johnson.
Oh, man.
So you know, I'm seeing these dudes,
Great workouts,
and I'm like, every other day, I'm working out in an empty gym,
right?
Because I'm like, damn, where he working out with San Antonio. Oh, where John? Oh, he working out for, and it was times where, again, I would go weeks just in the empty gym, and I remember, bro, I was in the hotel. This was probably the most emotional I've ever gotten. And I was listening to Nipsey, and I was just like, and I just broke into tears, like, cause I'm like, yo, these dudes is going off, they working out for teams. I only got 3 workouts,
right?
And I'm like, am I doing all this shit in vain? Like,
right.
And I'm building up a case against myself, cause I'm like, man, you got the allegations,
right?
You got the productivity, like you underachieved based on the ranking system or whatever.
Based on analytics and the outside eye.
And I'm like, damn, am I in vain?
Right.
Am I doing this, you know, in vain?
Right.
And I just remember saying to myself, like, man, I'm going to just get this shit my all. And whatever it is going to be. I can live with it as long as I know I ain't leave nothing else.
Right.
I ain't leave nothing on the table.
Right. And that's that speaks volumes because shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken, when you left Miami and went through that period, you were working with Dorian Lee, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Dorian Lee. You collab with me on a post from Ryan's episode. Shout out to you. I didn't know that you worked out with him until I saw footage.
Right.
I was like, oh shit. Dorian Lee and DJ was working out.
Right.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised, but it just was like, how small the basketball world is.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I look at him and the stature he has, he don't do nothing but train pros.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how he built his clientele. Justin said there was a time, my brother, when he was going to work out with him, it was, I think you said Jalen Patterson and another cat that he was working out. And my brother was going in and he was like, yo, I don't work out guys I haven't watched play.
Mm-hmm.
Which was really interesting to me because most trainers just want to take clientele. They just like, okay, you can come train. But he has a different attention to detail to his training, which I've noticed. How did he help your game?
He just expanded on it.
Right.
Expanded, put me in situations that forced me to be uncomfortable and just built off of that.
That's huge. Kind of slow the game down too when you focus on those things that make you uncomfortable, which typically are your weaknesses, the things that you don't do as comfortable. So that's dope. Just wanted to throw that out there. I was like, wow, that's a full circle moment.
For sure.
So when you got signed, matter of fact, let's talk about draft day, because I know that's a moment for you before it's the signing of the Magic. So all that preparation, and most players can't relate, but the high level guys can, to the preparation, the time, the countless hours that go into the prep of what you need to do. You're constantly people in your ear saying you need to do this, need to do that, and here comes draft day, and it's probably the biggest day of your life. What did you feel that day, if you can recall, and how did you navigate, to get where you got once the Orlando Magic did sign you?
I mean, I try to stay even keel because the thing is, mentally, I always try to prepare for disappointment. So, the punch ain't really that hard. So I watched the draft and it was what it was.
Right.
And if anything, it motivated me because I saw guys get drafted that I knew and I felt like I was better than.
Period.
So it really put things in perspective for me. And like I said, bro, my whole life I've been fighting. My whole life I've been overlooked or whatever the case is. So it wasn't anything new. It was just another opportunity to prove myself.
Right. And that's kudos to you, because even watching you at Wheeler, it was kind of like you had a shell over you. No matter how loud the crowd was, no matter what the score was, you seemed like you had a mission in your head.
Yeah.
And you didn't do too much talking. You communicated with your teammates. You listened to the coach. You were a guy that was really like one of those class act.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
No, I'm being serious.
My pop's gonna like that. Man.
I'm just being serious.
Like
I'm just being serious, man, because when you see a guy who typically is of your stature, playing for, the Wheelers of the world, the Norcrosses of the world, and, they're playing with these other guys, a lot of them have different personalities. And it does stem a lot from your upbringing, how you were raised. But it's also, you're your own person. You can do what, you're going to do you. Right. So, the fact that you carried yourself that way, I think, the universe and just the man upstairs, he's blessed you.
For sure.
In return for that, and gave you the longevity that you have now.
For sure. I didn't really have this degree of wisdom when I was young, but now that I'm older and I can conceptualize it now, and I'm an avid reader, so the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The one that always stuck with me was begin with the end in mind. And so even as a young kid, I always not only emulated the moves of pros, but their mindset too. So I remember as a kid, like I think my 12th birthday, I asked my mom for like a weight set. You know what I'm saying?
I did see you say something like that.
Yeah,
like, trying to get in the gym.
I was trying to get in the gym because I was tired of getting pushed around.
Right.
But I remember like little things like drinking like 2 gallons of water in the summertime because I heard like hydration was so important.
Oh yeah, keeping cramps out.
I mean, that's the same thing that has allowed me to have longevity. Like I just finished year 12, man. And
that's a blessing.
It all goes back to what I was saying. Begin with the end in mind. Like when I look back on my career, I don't want to say I left nothing on the table.
No regrets.
I don't want to have no regrets. I want to be like Thanos when he come and sit on the porch.
Yeah, facts. You
know what I'm saying? When I play with my kids.
Factual.
I want to be able to have stories and have no regrets and say I left, you know what I'm saying? I did what I was supposed to do.
That's a fact, man. And that's it's written in your whole, journey. So, you just, how long do you think you've got left? If I were to ask that before I ask you some more questions about the league.
Man, I don't know, man. It's like fine wine, man. They still can't stay in front of me. I don't know. Okay, facts. But what I know, y'all know.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. And that's a beautiful thing that you still healthy and got your legs under you. I mean, there's guys I know, man, they knees and they back giving out on them, man. And, you a good 6'7", 6'8". So I know, you bringing that weight up. Man. You got to come back down, too.
For sure, man.
It's a blessing, man, that you haven't had any serious injuries, to my knowledge. You haven't had any serious injuries. So that's a great thing, man. So that year that you got signed to the Orlando Magic, you played with Jameer Nelson, Turgaloo, young JJ Redick, right. Nikola Vukovic, Maurice Harkless, Big Baby Glenn Davis.
Man, yeah.
Big Baby.
Yeah.
So how was that, and who was the most impactful out of that group for you that year as a young guy?
They all were, man, and it was a special circumstance, and I think that speaks to the character of those guys because Orlando was going through a rebuild.
They were,
they knew that, you know, and so they had already kind of talked the older players, through that. They had put them on notice, and like in most cases, the older guys kind of become resentful towards the young guys coming up.
Right. Because they know they coming in.
Yeah, and they try to hide game from them. They try to, throw little hindrances in their path. But like all of those guys, man, embrace me.
That's love. That's love.
All of those guys, like Big Al, to this day, I saw him in Vegas. Wow. I mean, in LA, they're All-Star.
Al Harrington.
Yeah, I saw him. Big Baby was probably Big Baby, he was probably the most hands-on. But all of those guys, man, Jameer, just the knowledge and the time that they took with not only me, but like KO with Kyle O'Quinn. Like, the time and the game that they gave us. Aaron Aflalo,
he was a big guy. Oh man, Aflalo was a dog at the time. Oh my gosh, he got overlooked. He was underrated, crazy. Great 2-guard.
Bro, I mean, at 6'4", not really athletic.
Right.
But, like, utilized to me, I can compare him to Andre Miller.
100%.
When you look at guys that maximized on their physical attributes.
Yes.
I think he's up there with him. But for Aaron to see him come in after he had signed that big deal and, like, still see how hard he worked.
Right.
We had a group breakfast club.
Yeah.
If practice was at 11, we was there at 9.
That's hard. That's hard.
But all of those guys, man, the game that they gave
Tobias Harris was on that team. I almost forgot about Tobias.
Yeah,
Ish Smith.
Ish one of the greatest guys I've ever. Like, Ish is so good of a guy. Like, I would let him date my sister.
Oh, he like that.
He's that
real
great
one.
Of a guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he gives that. He kind of gives that aura off, a little bit. And through his play, he's a great teammate. When they, is he still in the league? He was just on the Pelicans a couple years back. Who's he playing for now?
I think last I saw he was with Washington.
Right. He's still a solid guard.
Bro,
and one of the few undersized guards still making money.
bro.
You know,
there it is.
Yeah. Darren Lamb was on that team. Deron Lamb.
Yep. He came with Tobias.
Yeah, that's huge, man. So I just need 2 or 3 memories from, because Kobe was still in the league at that time. You got LeBron turning into the guy he was turning into, and he was already Bron, but LeBron. There's a few different levels to Bron's career,
right?
And same with Kobe, but LeBron's just a unique guy. You know, so give me some memories that really stand out to you. That was like, yo, this is the league. Like, you know, maybe a memory from a GOAT, or just what really stands out to you? 2 or 3 memories.
I remember at Miami, LeBron got the game winner. He got the game winner. I feel like I should have had help weak side. That's just me personally. I'm gonna just put that out there. We can roll the B-roll.
We can roll the tape.
I don't know. But I think that, man, and just I think playing the Heat at Orlando that first game.
Yeah.
And like the opening play. Cause I think I started that game.
Yeah,
like
you did.
Opening play, like getting not a transition dunk, but like splitting the screen, that's like tough. Dunking, and I'm like, you know, I had so many instances where you feel like imposter syndrome because for me, like I said, bro, I've been working my whole life,
right,
and it's like, you fall victim to that, like, damn, do I belong? And every time I have that, God sends me reassurance, like, no, this is where you belong. And I think that dunk was kind of like that moment. That was that spiritual reassurance.
Word. And it's like, we in here. I'm lacing up my shoes just like them. I'm here. We here. And people who really are hoopers, like it's a different community when you've got spectators who actually know the game, people who actually played the game. It's different because you know when you got a room full of hoopers, you're gonna bring up some cats and be like, oh, he used to be a dog. So like league guys know who you are, and not even just that, like real hoopers know across the country, across the world. So you know how was it playing Kobe?
It was, man. It was cool, like when we played LA, because it was like a lot of hype around that too, because that was the year Dwight had left, or the year after, or whatever.
Right.
But like I just remember him, like I said, that aura that Mike had, he had that, but his confidence level was so high that like it was like he didn't see you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, nah, it really was like that. Like he would, like we was lining up at the free throw line, and you kind of like looking. And the thing is, you don't wanna show no sign of weakness.
Factual.
You feel what I'm saying? So
don't
like,
show your cards.
Yeah, you like looking, and he like talking. He like, yo, do this. And he turns, and it's like he's looking through you. It's like he don't even see you. Like how I'm looking at you.
Yeah. Who are you? Right?
Yeah, it's like he's looking through you. So it was one of those moments, man. And I remember like at the free throw line, we was playing Melo.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the line and Melo right here, and I'm like, damn, bro, say something. I'm like, damn, what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
Like, how you just gonna spark conversation out of thin air?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at Melo, I'm like, damn, man, y'all keep it hot in the garden, don't you? You ain't hot. Like damn, bro, it's hot in here, ain't it? Nigga Melo was like, yeah, I'm always hot in here. And I'm like, was that like?
Right.
Like it literally messed with my mind.
Right,
like,
right.
Like, was he trying to be funny?
Right.
It was, bro.
Basketball is very poker minded, you know, poker mentality. Like, you know, you have a poker face, you know, like you said, that aura that Mike and Kobe have. LeBron has his own aura too, and he has his own presence that's a little bit more intimidating physically. You know, but you know, did you ever have to, you know, lock in and guard him for, scouting report. Hey, DeQuan, don't let him do.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like, you watch the old Westerns where, like, they run over the hill and, like, they come back and, like, you got a whole bunch of arrows. Like, oh, they over there.
Yeah.
Like, that was me. It was like I was the crack. I was the, But at that point, you understood. And, like, Jameer used to tell me that. He's like, he would laugh. He's like, bro, you're not going to stop this player from getting 20 or 30.
Right.
You just want them to get 20 or 30 on 15 plus attempts. They're going to get their average.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it improves our chances statistically.
Right.
If they do it on more shots.
1,000%. That's real right there. I can't lie to you.
Yeah.
That's definitely it's strategy. At the end of the day, it's chess.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people who don't know the game, the older I've gotten, the more I've broken the game down in ways that I didn't when I was in high school or even in middle school. Which is, today's NBA. How do you feel about let me before I ask that, what's the biggest difference to you between overseas and the NBA?
The biggest difference
for you.
For me, of course, the logistics of it, the spacing, kind of the rules that you get away with. I tell, like, young guys all the time, I know you train in the summer, but it was certain moves that I couldn't add because when you're an American, you're never going to get a offensive advantage. The rule overseas, especially Euro, if you open up in the post, you can't go right. You have to go left almost.
Wow.
So I tell guys, while y'all training all of these 5 dribble move combos, realistically, you're not gonna be able to get away with it because they don't want to give, especially Americans, any offensive advantage to you. So you're hindered even in your bag offensively.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the biggest difference where, it varies country to country, but overall, you're not going to get you're not going to be in any advantageous predicament offensively. But, man, I done had experiences, man. I done been spit on in China.
What?
Man, yeah.
That's insane, bro.
I done been spit on, bro.
That's insane, bro.
Free throw, dude walk by like he getting the ball, look at me. He got sweat running down his face. He blew sweat on me, yeah. Yeah.
And you got to keep you cool because you got money that you got to provide for your family. You
gotta
gotta bring the chicken home. You can't get cut. You can't get no bullshit over there. And then you out of your own comfort zone because you're not home.
Man, that's the. So, all right, that statement is two form, and that's actually something I wanted to speak on, right?
Yeah.
The mental aspect of it is that, like, everybody thinks, like, yeah, the basketball, this. Rarely is the mental strain in basketball. Yeah, they may be a little bit more physical with you. Yeah, they let them get away with cheap shots. It's the restraint that you have to display and exercise.
Yeah.
Like I said, in that predicament, we were playing a team at their home. We were playing for second place. If we win, we in second. If we lose, we fall to fourth. And we're going to have to play them again in the playoffs.
Right.
So my mindset, I got a bonus.
Right.
It's much more player to take my wife to, you know what I'm saying, St. Martin.
Straight up.
Than to prove to this player that I'll probably never ever see again or don't care about than to prove that I'm tougher than him.
Right.
So,
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's the restraint that you have to show. And I tell, like I said, like younger guys, the advantage that you have playing overseas as an American, you already know how they perceive you.
Right.
So that's a gift and a curse. So now once you know that they playbook, you know that they think that you're spoiled.
Yeah.
That you're entitled.
Right.
That you feel like you're better than them. That I don't know why they assume all Americans are rich beyond, like they think we're all Kardashians. That's literally like no bullshit. That's literally their perception of us.
Right.
And the second aspect of that is like young players. Yes, playing overseas is hard, bro. Mm-hmm. It is. I just want y'all to think and understand. There's a vested interest in veteran players talking y'all out of these opportunities. I was talking to an overseas coach, and he asked me, he said, man, I was looking at this player from this college, like, why won't he come to Europe, give Europe a try? And I sat with it for a second, and like any veteran player that romanticizes the plight of overseas, instead of giving you the game to navigate it and go through it, they're really not for you.
That's a fact.
You know, overseas is difficult.
Right.
But what I've seen is that it's difficult to the ones that don't love this shit.
That's a fact.
If you love the game, you're going to be all right.
Facts.
But don't fall into the propaganda of every time you scroll on something and it's like, oh, look, overseas is, this is what they don't tell you about.
Right,
like,
right.
Bro, my daughter ate dinner with a Michelin star chef in Dubai.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But again, and that's the spiritual aspect of it. Instead of bashing what you hate, promote what you love.
That's a fact.
You feel what I'm saying? So young players, don't fall for it, man. Overseas, if you have good intentions and you love the game, it's a life-changing experience, and it's something that enriches your spirit if you got the right intentions.
That's a beautiful message. You know, these young cats, you know, even back when you were playing, it was still transitioning into one and done, or not even one and done, or NBA, or all NBA or nothing, you know, mentality. Right. You know, especially in the era you came up in when there was a shift, when people started to normalize going overseas, which I always thought was normal. I just didn't know how to navigate it because my mindset from all these AU coaches, from all these other coaches and just people, it's NBA or nothing. Yeah. And they had so many combines back then that you could do. Those are still around, but barely. Now you got to have a great agent with some good film. And that'll take you, you know, you might start in a lower league, but it's all about working your way up. Look at KP, what's his name? KP Jr. is his name?
Mike James was in the second division.
Mike James plays with my boy that played with me on Milton, Jordan Lloyd. They both there. They just went to the French finals. Yeah, they doing great. Mike James is a dog.
He's about to get paid too.
He's about to get paid.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like you said, it's life changing. You're seeing the world. You're bringing your kids around things that most kids don't get to experience. I mean, they're getting wholesome experiences that mold them and that they can carry and tell to their, you know, generation.
Bro, my daughter speaks 4 languages, bro.
That's different.
How old is she? She'll be 5 in July. She'll be 5 next month. She speaks Arabic, English, French, and a little Japanese.
What?
Yeah.
That's next level, bro.
Yeah, I gotta
give you some kudos.
I appreciate that, man.
That's and your wife, because it takes 2 to tango. And I know when how does the season go for you? Because I was going to touch on fatherhood later, but since we're here, we can touch on it. I'm a father. I respect fathers. I'm a husband. I respect it. How has it been navigating and balancing that medium of family, children, wife, and you know, work?
I take the same mindset from basketball as it pertains to being a father and a husband, man. That's like, you want to be a good basketball player, you want to be a good father, and you want to be a good husband. So you study. You not only like study meaning like reading, but you study your kids, you study your wife, their habits, their likes, their dislikes. You study how you could be a better asset, you know, to your family. And I think even just with that mindset, like, if you passionate about something, you want to be the best in your field, you take that same passion and cross it over into relationship.
That's beautiful that you said that, because my whole life thinking about what basketball has done for me and how I've taken those character building things and just applied it to life. It's really helped me in my relationships, my relationships with my kids, my wife. And like, nothing's perfect. So there's always room for improvement, and it's never always going to be great, right? You're going to have moments where you got an argument or two and you got to handle it differently. For sure. That's life. A lot of people try not to normalize that, but that's life. So I appreciate you touching on that because, we're all human, man.
For sure, bro.
And we're just trying to build.
And not only are we all human, like, as far as we know, this is our first time at this.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? This is our first time navigating this. Right. And I think, having a little grace with people to an extent. Yes. Showing people a little grace, it goes a long way for you spiritually. Right. You know what I mean? And, I think, again, bro, I've been blessed, man. Yes. I've been, to take credit for it solely on my doing, it wouldn't be right, bro. Right. I've been blessed.
100%. And again, pops, moms, y'all did y'all thing with this. And I know they happy. I know they living good. They happy. They blessed and they proud. Yeah. So I got a question for you before I dig into another piece. So toughest player that you feel in your mind that you played in the league, and overseas. So you got to give me both. Toughest player that you've either played against or guarded, whatever one you want to pick from, in both.
Of course, in the league, I'm gonna say post Cavalier Braun. Braun was different, man. He was on a mission. He was a different dude, hey, bro. Hey, man. Bro was different, man. Bro was different.
You talking about Miami Braun?
Yes.
I figured that's who you talk about. I just had to clarify that.
Yeah. Overseas, man, I can't really say, man.
Not one guy that really caught your eye that was like, you know what, he's tough. It could have been an American player or a foreign guy.
I'm gonna have to think on it.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to think
on it. We can come back to that. We'll have
to come back to that.
So, favorite country you played in?
Italy.
Really? What about Italy was great?
I think the culture. Every aspect of Italy was cool. And I know, again, just piggybacking off of what I was saying earlier, experiences vary from people to people.
Yes.
When people travel to a country, it's different than me living there for 9 months. But Italy, I would say the cultural aspect of it, like they celebrated us, meaning like black people.
Really?
From what I experienced, yeah.
Really? And the food was probably fire.
Oh my God, bro.
I was just about to say that.
Oh my God. We had a sponsor, one of the sponsors of the team, Nana Papera. I still remember the name of it. Yeah. Gelato place.
Oh, like ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They were a sponsor, and they would literally bring every night like a gallon of just
fresh ice
assortment of gelato.
Oh my gosh.
And I would
indulge.
Pasta. Yeah. But just Italy, man. I mean, the historic sites, monuments. I would say Italy.
So was your family with you out there in Italy too? Or how did that work for most of your career? Did I'm sure your wife had to be with the kids when they had to go to school or, start pre-K and, stuff like that. But
so my daughter is 4. So
okay.
My daughter, she's only been with us in 3 countries.
You got a son too, right?
I got a son. He's 2.
Oh, he's young.
Yeah. He a wild one though, but
I got a young 2-year-old that's wild too, bro.
Boys and he the second born. So
you done? You haven't?
Yeah,
born?
no, yeah, I'm finished. Finito. Yeah, I'm finished.
I really would have been done myself, bro. I ain't gonna cap, but I just popped out. We got a 3rd on the way. I'm about to be a girl dad for the first time, man.
Get you a coffee maker. An espresso, you gonna need it.
already know it.
These kids.
I hear
man.
girls change your life, man. So I'm looking forward to the new journey, man.
So it softens you up, man.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it, bro.
Word.
I can't even describe it. You'll see.
Yeah.
Everybody always said you'll see.
No, for sure. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't even cap. But yeah, man. For me, it was always a pleasure just following your story. And you know, it's also speaks volumes to, you know, anything that you went through. Your family has a code, as similar to what I've experienced with my family. When things get tough, you don't let the outside noise in, and you don't speak on what happens in house.
For sure.
I think that's a big characteristic of family. So for you, explain the role that your family really plays in, you know, today, you know, your life now. Like now that you're on, you know, just finished year 12, you know, going into year 13, I'm sure, you know, in August. How is life today for you?
Man, I'm dropping off for swim, soccer, camp. I'm my kids is scheduling play dates.
Right.
I'm the last to know about it. So nah, man. I mean, I'm a suburban dad. Bro.
Word, man.
I got a Stanley Cup and everything.
That's hard.
I got a customized. What's the little lawn chair?
Yeah.
Where you fold them out.
Yeah.
So I'm fully invested, man. But I feel like my family put things in perspective, unless you know what's really important. And you know, my daughter, my son, when basketball was really all I had, my emotions would be dependent on wins and losses. And you know, with kids, man, my daughter, my son, they don't know if I won or lost. They don't care.
Right.
All they know is my dad's here. And it forces you to be present and stay in the moment. And I think in that you develop like an appreciation for everything. You know, so
For all the real fathers out there and present fathers, that's a big one.
yeah.
You know, that sits with me heavy. Every day I come home, my son don't know what I've been through. He just happy to see me.
Just happy to see you.
Even if I had a terrible day, even if I'm going through a series of days where it's been tough, he's just like, "Hey, daddy," you know. And even the little one, little bull, they love their uncle over there. You know, you know, family is without family, I don't know where I would be.
For sure, bro. For sure. Basketball, for me, basketball and family.
Right.
But again, if we had to conceptualize, like I said, my whole spiritual journey,
Yes.
like now I can speak on it. I always looked at it like this, right? When I went through something early on, when I'm overseas and, you know, overseas is so hard, violin, blah, blah. You know, I always looked at it from the perspective of like, if I gotta go through it to gain not only the experience but like the wisdom for pushing through it, then my kids will reap that blessing.
That's real.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like it gives pain, it gives meaning and understanding to pain, because it's like, I mean, you like you said, you a dad. Yeah. If you could go through disappointment, if you could break your heart right now to keep your son from breaking his, you would do it 8-9 times.
Tenfold.
And so that's how I always looked at adversity. Like, you know, this is just prepping me for being a father, being a husband one day. And it kind of gave me that understanding. Right.
That's a big one. That was great. I feel that. That's real.
Yeah.
So we on the back burner of this interview here, and I like to always play a word or phrase game. Okay. And whatever comes to your mind, you can give a one-word answer or an in-depth answer. Right. But I've got a handful of things that, you know, are either words or phrases, and I want you to give me your thoughts on it.
All right.
So DeQuan's GOAT, your greatest of all time.
Mike.
And Mike?
Yeah.
No question.
Nothing else need to be talked about. Nothing else need to be talked about.
That's real. Hey, that's facts. Can you give me a little explanation for the viewers?
I mean, we can debate. I mean, sports networks have been built on this debate,
right?
But as far as like just sheer will to win, let's even negate skill. Like, people forget Mike led college players, the Team USA, to beat the NBA All-Stars in, I forgot what year that was. But
NBA All-Stars?
Yeah. Look it up. Team USA. They this is back when they would kind of scrimmage the college All-Stars.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? To prepare for, we would have to look it up. But people forget, like, he led that team to beat the NBA, All-Stars.
Right.
But if we talk about just winning in every facet, of course you would have to say Wilt, because he won 3. He won 3 in college. He won high school. But that wasn't really my era.
Right. Right.
Right. So I would say Mike.
Yeah, most definitely. I respect that. I respect that. And we touched on fatherhood, but in a statement that you could give to people, what does fatherhood mean to you?
Sacrifice. Sacrifice. If that's what that's what I saw in my dad. Like, my pops, like I said,
that's real.
He worked in a steel mill, melting steel.
Right.
And it's cool to propagate, like, the rags, the riches, like, oh, I ain't never had nothing, whatever. And I had my struggles, but, like, my pop, I never had to really want for nothing.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? My pops, I never felt like my pops couldn't provide or give me anything that I needed or wanted.
I feel a similar understanding from that piece, because I my brother and I, we both came up under a father that he always preaches sacrifice. So you saying that is almost like me hearing his voice in my ear.
For sure.
It's just like, wow.
For sure.
That's super dope, man.
Sacrifice.
Facts. So I asked Ryan this last episode, Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick. Kendrick, man.
And I'm a Drake guy, but I have to agree, because I'm just like, I'm a realist at the end of the day. I love music. I'm not a biased Drake guy. I'm not a Drake stan. Far from that. But yeah, there's just the real, and then there's not as real.
I mean, I look at it like comedians, right? Like, it's a lot of comedians I don't find funny. Like Kevin Hart. Like, if Kevin Hart...
Factual.
Like, for real. Like,
a lot of my boys that had conversations about K Hart.
I'm going to tell you the difference. Like, if Kevin Hart was right there, he would be annoying.
Right.
He would be, he changed his way. Like, he would be annoying. Like, bro, who homeboy is this? Right. But, like, if Mike Epps was right there... Like,
oh, my gosh.
You know
that guy is... Oh, man.
He would say something simple, but, like, we all would cry laughing. And I think... I feel like that's the best comparison. Like,
right.
If Drake went... Drake would get bullied. Like, and if he went to the schools that we went to, or came up in the environments we came up in.
Drake wouldn't have... He'd have it rough.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like...
He's talented. But,
is he? So I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna get grown and be like, oh no, like, he's cool now. He was lame,
Right.
It's the same thing in life. Like, you was lame in school, you lame now.
Yeah. Oh God,
for real. That's real.
He's loving it in the corner. He's a big Kendrick guy. So I'm a Kendrick fan too. He's a realist. But
see, this is what I'm saying. Me and my homeboy, me and my teammate, shout out Quigs.
Yeah.
We went to a concert in Miami in 2011, 2012.
Drake?
Section
Kendrick?
80.
Oh, Section 80.
Yeah. So I've been a Kendrick fan since Section 80. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the dedication mixtapes.
Right.
You know, so
ADHD.
What was it? Cushion Corinthians.
Yeah,
You know
next
what I'm
level,
saying?
next
Like,
level, next level.
So
next level.
So yeah, bro, this is easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
It's looking bad for him, and really, to be honest, man, you know, Caitlin Clark. I got to ask you a question about Caitlin Clark, right? And I really just want to know how you feel about what's going on with, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of the big wigs saying, and even Bron said something that really kind of shook up the room, saying she's the reason why the WNBA is going in the direction it's going.
Right.
So how do you feel about Caitlin Clark and, you know, even just that narrative?
I'm gonna give you the politically correct answer.
There we go.
No, I'm not. I could
do what you do. Do what you do.
So here, I'm gonna give you like my experience and tie it back in, right?
Okay.
The best experience I've had playing overseas is like seeing a young kid, 16, 17 years old. He played with the younger team, but he practiced with the older team. And you see throughout the season, he gets better. He gets better. And then you look up 5, 6, 7 years later, and he's the captain of the national team.
He's a dog.
He's a leading scorer in the Olympics.
Right.
I think all of that is synonymous. So like, yeah, y'all bullying her now at this stage of her career. But understand, she gonna get bigger. Big paws on a puppy. She gonna grow into what she's meant to be. And I just hope that y'all find yourselves on the right side of history.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that. That was a great answer.
That's my whole thing. Like, again, it's like on the playground. Like, yeah, you can bully this kid now.
Right.
But in the summertime, when they hit that growth spurt,
right,
when they come back from ABCD camp or whatever, it's gonna be a different story.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
But, you know, another answer is, do women really want what they say they want? That's all I'm saying.
No. We talking business. We talking real.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
So
hey,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, though?
I mean,
in entirety.
I mean, like, you say you want notoriety. You say you want viewership. You say you want more sponsorship. This person gives it to you, and then you try to take them out. So now, if they're not playing, if they're not accessible, or viewers aren't able to view this player, you're kind of right back to square one.
That's a fact.
I'm not saying
it's a business, though.
It's a business, and at this point in this, I feel like the business trumps the sanctity of the game. But
that's true.
Again, at this point, if you ain't strong enough to change the game, you got to play it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
they've been tussling her up. They've been roughing her up. They've been throwing her to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the game. You know, they kind of, I guess, like, welcome to the WNBA, young girl, young Joan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a way to do it.
Right.
It's a way to do it.
Right.
And I think everything is based on intentions too. Like, what is your intent really?
Right.
Are you really trying to better this person, or are you just trying to maliciously,
right?
You know,
like the one, I don't know what that girl's name was. That she ran up on her and just kind of light skinned chick. Yeah. And it's just interesting to me. What, like you said the word intentions, right? Yeah. So it's like, was that something you're trying to help her with, or are you trying to help her be tougher, or was that just like, I'm gonna get my clout off this? I'm gonna get my. I mean, she's already a pro. I mean, she's been in the league for, you know, as long as she's been in the league.
I mean, you gotta think too. This is the social climate that we in. Like, clout trumps anything else, and you know, like, there is no such thing as negative attention. any attention is progression to some people. So like, and especially in the leagues now, like the storyline supersede the actual play. Whereas before, it was the other way around.
That's
like
true.
the play wrote the storyline. But now it's like on some WWE, like type deal. But yeah, man.
How do you feel about betting?
I think it's especially like live game betting is gonna ruin sports. It's gonna, I mean, but we're seeing
right in front of our eyes.
In front of our eyes,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying. We're seeing the negative impact it's having. But again, man, if you ain't strong enough to change the game, you got to play it.
Yeah.
So
I was talking to my boy Shannon. Shout out Shannon Scott. We were talking a couple days ago, last week, and he was saying how he was getting threats. From playing. He was playing in Taiwan on the back end, and then he started in Australia in the NBL. Is that the league? So he played out there. Then he finished off in a league in Taiwan. They picked him up, the same league Boogie plays in.
Yeah.
He actually lost to Boogie. Boogie put up 40 and 20. And
Man.
he's a dog still.
He been that.
And he's wants all the smoke.
He been that, bro. He been that.
So it's just crazy hearing people's stories. I mean, they overseas, they betting over there. And they getting threats different than over here.
Man, you telling you it's different, bro. And I haven't experienced it, but in some of these countries and cases, the coaches be in on it.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? You got a starter and you sit them 4 minutes, start of the fourth. I don't know. I'm just
you're right. I've heard that too from a few birdies.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
So I don't know. But
And money trumps all.
For sure.
So it's just interesting to hear that from you.
Sure.
So I've got another phrase for you. To have that dog in you. What does that mean to you?
To have that dog, you got to be like a little psychotic. You know what I'm saying? You have to be, because like this is my mindset, right? Like how you said earlier. I want my like respect.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? And I love like watching the face of like and seeing defeat. Like I like to do something, and I like just watching the opposing player look at the bench like, nigga, what you want me to do?
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Like bro, like,
I can't do nothing about this guy.
I can't even believe he did that.
Straight up. Straight up.
So I think having that dog is and it's a degree of like selfishness.
Oh yeah.
Because like my experience, like once you got overseas, especially once you got NBA on your name, you like a trophy to them.
Facts.
And it's like, I don't want to end up on nobody's mantle. Now you walk in and you got like the deer, the antlers on the wall. Like I'm not gonna be on nobody's wall.
Straight up.
I don't want nobody to be like, oh yeah. And guys have said it like, oh, you played in the league, and by the end of the game, in most cases, they were singing a different tune. But
right.
Right. That's what that means. Like when you say dog, like that's what's in me.
Right.
Like,
Straight up.
No.
Straight up. That's a fact. Ever since I met you, like I said, that when I was a freshman, I'll never forget. That's when it was stamped for me. I said, who is that brother? And then my dad looked at you. I said, oh, that's DeQuan. Oh, that's who that is. Okay, bet. And I didn't get to play, or in that game as much as I would like to. But hey, man, listen. I started my freshman year at Milton about 4 games, and we had a lot of seniors. So Coach Boy went with the upperclassmen mentality. Right. Then the year after is when Shannon Scott, Dejon Parker, and crew, everybody, Jordan Lloyd, everybody showed up, and then we turned into what y'all was. We turned into a dynasty. We ended up running. We went to the state championship and played Wheeler the year after that, and lost to y'all by 20. So, and Ari was doing the sitting in the rim look like a Nerf hoop. I mean, it was crazy. Richard was killing. Phil was killing. And Carl just kept getting better. And shout out Carl, man. He's a workhorse. That young brother right there, one of the greatest scorers to come out of Wofford Academy. I mean, Wofford University. And he wasn't the best jump shooter early on. I remember when we were in 8th grade playing on the Georgia Thunder. Shout out Roger Hubbard too. He was just a jumper, just so athletic.
2 foot. He could only jump off 2 foot.
Your 1 foot was insane.
And Carl used to, didn't he used to shoot like behind his
head?
He
did.
Or,
it was like a kick. It was like, but he fixed his mechanics. He worked on it. And he really, testament to him, man. He was a worker. He was a worker. And when I saw how Coach Lip used him with y'all, I knew he was going to end up being good because Coach Lip gave him the opportunity. And he's playing around y'all is just going to wear off on him. For sure. And it wore off because not just because of that, but his mentality in combination. Yeah, so, it was just a beautiful thing to see, man. And I'm really just, proud of him to see what he's really accomplished. And, it's just one of those things where when you play with someone and you see what they've done, it's just like, I figured he would do that.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, man, I think that was accredited because even Carl's mom, she was great, to me.
She was a dog too. She had that dog.
She was tough on them too.
Yes.
And Carl soaked up game. He was one of those, and that's how you can tell. Like as a veteran now, you can tell those players that are going to be good because they seek out that game instead of the ones that think that they know it already. Carl and KK, all of them, like they sought that out. They would ask questions. They would, and you could kind of see them trying to steal game at some point. Cause they would like lurk around or peek their head in, and it's like your little brother, like bro, I can see you over here, bro. Oh, what y'all doing? So
thanks.
I think that was just a testament to them and they upbringing.
Right. Yeah, that's what's up. Shout out to y'all again, man. I'm gonna talk to them probably sometime this week, but before we go, I gotta ask you about what was your thought process against Word of God? I told you I was gonna bring it up. I waited to the end to bring it up. Yeah. Against Word of God, against John Wall coming coast to coast, and you took off. You've always been, in my opinion, a better 1 foot jumper than 2 foot.
For sure.
But you have both. And you let the world know that. But your 1 foot was immaculate, has always been immaculate. It's like your signature, in my opinion, from watching you as a young guy. So what was going through your mind, coast to coast, Wheeler versus Word of God, and you took off, and John Wall looked like he about to set a charge, and you just tower over him. And, I mean, that's one of the craziest dunks I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. John,
shout out to John, though.
John, he was always...
Because John is a pro.
One of the best to ever come out of North Carolina.
Straight up.
And we ain't even got to negotiate.
Yeah, that's no debate.
But that's actually funny because the night before we played Cal.
Oh, you did say that. We
played Cal, and then we drove up to Carolina like in the night.
Word.
So we was kind of tired. We was kind of fatigued. But Coach Lip being who he is, Coach Lip used to always just try to manufacture like motivation out of thin air. So like he would see an opposing player like walk in with like flip flops on, and he'd be like, "See, John Wall ain't thinking about y'all. He got flip flops on. He ready to go to the beach." And we like, "Coach, we got flip flops."
Right?
Like what are you talking about?
He tried to pump y'all up.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where like, Coach Lip gave like a speech like, "Oh, they think this team," because CJ was on that team too.
CJ Leslie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he was like, "Oh, they think this team better than y'all. They think woo-doo-doo. They think this, they think that."
Did y'all win that game?
I don't remember, bro.
You played so much basketball.
Man, I don't remember.
Right. But do you remember that play though?
I do.
You do?
That.
Okay.
I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that.
What made you do that, bro? You literally almost took off. You took off almost from the free throw line, bro. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, bro. I don't be knowing I don't be knowing half of the time. Like when y'all see it, I'm just as surprised.
Wow.
I be like, oh man, because what happens is I just jump and I be like, oh shit, I'm right here. I might as well dunk it. Like that's the honest truth. So yeah, it was one of them things. I jumped and I was like, oh, I could probably make this.
Right.
And The rest was history.
Nah, facts. That went super viral. I still remember talking to KK Simmons about it. He was like, yeah, man, I jumped up out my seat. Look at me right there. I was jumping. Then it's all you see from there is after that dunk, Carl is locked in. Carl is locked in on defense. Like, yeah, we getting a stop now.
Yeah.
Like Carl was a dog, man. Like
sure.
he did what you expect the guy to do. The dirty work. He did the little things. He did what the coach asked. He was so obedient and he got rewarded for it, man.
For sure. Because Coach Liv, he explained it to him like, and Coach Liv told him like, bro, I don't play freshmen.
Right.
But you have an opportunity if you do these things well. And he bought into it.
That's love. That's love, man. Well, yeah, man. I had to go ahead and ask you about that because the world. You go on YouTube to this day, it's still racking up views.
Man,
you know what I'm saying,
bro? I still get to this day. I still get asked about that. I still get asked about it. And then what's crazy too is when John came on his visit to Miami, I was his host.
Wow.
So like we talked about, we like briefly talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hearsay. I mean, it's just like a big guy getting dunked on. Like Julian, when I brought it up to Julian, I kind of threw it in his face a little bit because we boy, that's my brother. Right, I was on the phone with him with Travis. I was like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I think he might have went on a fast break. I said, nah, bro, it was off vert.
Oh yeah.
I was like, nah, it was off vert, chest to chest. He said, yeah, I mean, I'm a big man. We get dunked on. I was like, yeah, it's basketball. You're going to get dunked on. You get crossed. So, the John Wall's credit, he done crossed a lot of guys and dunked on a lot of guys. It's basketball. He's John Wall. He's a GOAT, man. I'm really surprised that, a lot of guys in the league, that he's not in the league right now. And there's a handful of guys that we could name, man. It's a political thing. Certain guys get a certain reputation or certain GMs and teams want to, X a guy out because of whatever the next coach or the next scout has said. It's just weird,
Man, I experienced it.
Right.
At Orlando. I started 20 some games.
Yeah.
Undrafted.
Right.
Like, put things in perspective. Like, summer league, training camp starter.
That's different.
And 20 plus games, 20 some games in, you get called in the office and it's like, yeah, hey, just want to let you know, we're gonna start such and such. And it's like, all right, well, like, did I do something?
Right.
Like, am I not doing this? Like, nah, this is the direction that we going. Again, in hindsight, like now understanding the business aspect of it, they got to justify paying this player X amount of dollars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas I'm at a, and I had coaches tell me like, bruh, just be lucky that you here. Even after proving,
that you belong.
And that was my whole thing. Like every day I had to, it was a tryout. And again, that's another mental aspect that people don't even calculate.
Right.
For me in particular, like every day was like, because I was on a non-guarantee, so it's like at any time, like you could be gone.
Right.
So you see that. So when you say like why he not in the league or why such and such not in the league, I understand it completely.
Right.
Because I lived it. I've been through it.
Right. And the crazy thing is, like, I know guys and peers that have touched the league, such as yourself, and they may go in a downward spiral mentally, and may not recover from that
sure.
within a certain time frame. Whether they will or will, may not. Yes, whatever. But it's just interesting because the mind is such a powerful thing, man, and having the resilience to continue to tell yourself. To continue to tell yourself you're a pro and you're a pro despite, what was said or anything. Because, even Ryan said in the last episode, like, he always knew he was good. Like, he wanted to let people know he was cold.
And he said, I watched the episode, he said he just needed somebody to tell him and reassure him.
Right.
And that's a form of a sense of downfall in itself is constantly needing reassurance. And I like I posted that on my Instagram. I was like, you don't become confident by sitting in the mirror, repeating mantras and repeating things to yourself in the mirror. You become confident by creating a pile of work that is undeniable and that says, I am who I say I am. So instead of, the looking in the mirror, I am handsome, I am this, I am that. Yeah, that's, to an extent that's helpful.
Right.
But like, are you putting in the work to reinforce what you're saying? And understanding that, like, shit, it's gonna be the opposite. Right. It's people gonna be telling you you ain't a pro. People gonna be telling you you ain't good. People gonna be telling you, people gonna be telling you the opposite. Right. And again, if you put the work in, it's gonna speak for itself.
Every time, man. So that was a handful of things I had to throw out there with the word and phrase game. And you definitely shut it down with your GOAT. I didn't expect you to say Jordan.
Who you thought was that?
I don't know. I mean, I know you really liked, Jordan, but I didn't know you were going to say him because based on how you spoke on LeBron and his greatness.
I would expect that from a Drake guy. I would expect that from a Drake guy. You feel me?
I'm a Drake guy. You right. But if I'm gonna be honest, recently listening to his new music. No. But listening to his music these days, it just don't hit the same. And I'm the biggest Drake guy. I remember finding Drake with my boy Julian Roy. We was at his pops and mom's crib.
Bro,
it's sad, bro.
You grown. You grown, bro. Like,
you right.
You grown. Listen, this is my theory too.
Yeah.
And I'm a big music connoisseur, as you can tell. But like, this is my theory too. I think Drake had the same curse as Trey Songz. Trey Songz stayed in the bachelor section way too long. When we was in college, Trey Songz, it was cool. Like, we was promiscuous. We was this, allegedly.
Right.
We was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, we grown now. Like we got kids. We can't relate to this.
That's a fact.
So I think, it's the same thing.
He loves this over there, I mean,
Bro, when he said Section 80, I already do.
Yeah. He's one of them.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Get one of them waters.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, the episode was great. I appreciate all the knowledge and the gems that you've dropped, man. I hope that, the youth that watches this really soaks in what you've said on a magnitude of just taking time to really learn yourself, because that's the most important step in this journey, is learning yourself and improving and not repeating certain things. And if you do repeat them, catch them and continue to improve.
For sure.
So, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and showing love and, giving us your truth and, not shying away from anything that you've been through and the amazing career that you've had, man. I wish you the best in everything that you do and, and more longevity. I hope you have even 4 or 5 more years in you, man.
And physically, yeah. Mentally, I don't know.
Right.
The older you get, the less likely you are to, the less likely you are to the more sensitive you are to BS. But, in closing, I want to say this as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, from the aspect of overseas players, and this ain't even just basketball. This is us, especially as black people, as a collective. We have to go back to a sense of community amongst each other. And what I mean by that is, the whole interview, I'm giving you gems. I'm giving you food for thought.
Right.
But overseas, go into it with the mindset of, and I've always thought about this as, I have to leave this team, this area, this town in a better place than I found it. Because how I conduct myself, how I behave, the love that I give is gonna affect the next young guy coming up.
That's a fact.
You feel what I'm saying? Because again, we already know the preconceived notions that we have.
Right.
So, you know, even on my Instagram, I get messages from guys, young guys, and I post them not for the sake of embarrassing them.
Yeah.
But recently, a guy sent me a message and he was like, man, you know, he thought that we spoke the same language because we of the culture. And I gave him the information that he wanted, but I was like, hey, look, bro, let me tell you something. The next time you message somebody, say hello, how are you? Because if I was of a different culture, you wouldn't have came at me like that.
That's a fact.
And I'm only telling you this because at this stage, society preys on your ignorance. They don't want you to know this. Yeah. They don't want you. So get in the habit of being professional. Right. Because I may be a head coach in 5 years.
You showed up early today. And this ain't even your show. And what I respect the most about you, one of the first things you said to me in the message was, I'm a worker. I'm here for whatever you need me for.
Yeah.
Only guest that's ever said that to me. Not to say that every other guest I've had hasn't given me respect and consideration and just, you know, cooperation, all the respectful things, but just hearing it and speaking that, and even when we speak, you know, hey, what's up? Good afternoon. You know that it speaks volumes on somebody's character, and like you said, people are so normal. And normalize ignorance, bro. It's all on social media.
For sure. We've made it our culture, but we, you know what I'm saying? We not like that.
Exactly. And that's one of the main purposes of me starting this pod is to create great substance. There's so much bullshit out here.
For sure.
And for me, you know, of course, you know, a podcast is supposed to do what it does, but for me, it's deeper than that. I wanna, you know, give back to the kids. You know, I love the game that much. That's one of the main reasons I want to give back something, and I want to leave a legacy behind for mine.
That's what it's about.
You know,
and not only you, but your kids gonna be blessed,
right? For
the seed. You know, they always talk about, you know, the child pays for the sins of the father, but it go both ways. Yeah. They blessed by your deeds too. Factual. So, you know, and it's all in the intent, bro.
Factual.
Blessings in the intent.
Factual.
I ain't a preacher, but you know.
Nah, you a real one. It come natural when you real. Yeah. But you know, my son said to me today, he was like, "Hey, Daddy, after we eat Steak and Shake, you going to your podcast, right?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And he just turned 5 in March, so he's just beyond his years. He's going to kindergarten in August. So you know, it's just a lot of new journeys for me, and it's a lot. But you know, I'm blessed, and just to be able to talk to him on an intellectual level, because you really learn a lot about your child when you just sit back and be like, damn, he's actually really smart. He's smarter than I actually knew.
For sure, man.
And you telling me your daughter knows 4 languages was mind-boggling to me. Not surprise, but like just how smart kids are if they're given the opportunity and they seize that opportunity.
And I feel like that's my intent, you know, with social media, you know, and we get comments all the time. It's again going back culturally, we are paid handsomely for the BS, for the people pay top dollar for black dysfunction.
That's a fact.
And it's like, you know, again, we so messed up as a culture where it's like, if they see me loving my child genuinely and healthily, if that's even a word, they question how genuine it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because, again, like,
that's real.
Even your son, like, tell you, like, oh, you going to a podcast. You know, in some environments, he could get ridiculed for that. Right. Because it's like, oh, who your dad? You know, it's one of those instances. But, you know, it's, I feel like we gotta counterbalance the scales, man, and balance out the BS with the vitamins. Right.
Yeah, get the BS out, man. You know, sure. Keep it out, filter it out. But yeah, man, that was probably the wrap up right there. And you know, those gems, I hope y'all hear this. You know, I hope y'all really listen and soak this up. This was a great interview. I'm grateful and thankful and appreciative, man. So, I appreciate
you, bro.
Man, it was a great one. It was a great one, man. And I'm glad you were able to, give back in the way that you want to do. Mm-hmm. There was no preconceived notions. There was no, you do this, or this. Nah, this is all real, raw and unfiltered, and this is genuine love. This is genuine vibes every time. Right. So y'all tune in and keep tapping in. We appreciate y'all. Over and out. Y'all be easy.
Straight Shooters Podcast.